Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Much appreciated you guys taking a little time out of your busy day to watch the video as usual. And today I'm going to share some good secrets, some good juice on two of my favorite old school jerk baits, which are the old Rogue minnow and the old Rapala minnow. And man, these are the ones I started out with. I got a lot of good tips for springtime on these things that are really forgotten a lot to this point in time. But I'm going to share with you guys some of the times that they really work good, better than anything you can throw. I think you'd be really surprised. So anyway guys, just real quick, I'm getting ready for an on the water lesson tomorrow down at Table Rock Lake. It's supposed to be raining all day tomorrow. Just wanted to remind you guys, if y'all are interested in booking an on the water lesson with me, just shoot me a message on my Facebook page, private message, Randy Blocker Professional Angler. Also, the weekly reminder, if you guys are interested in becoming members of the channel, one of the greatest ways you can support the channel, you get extra videos every week not seen by the public, access to my personal email address. Just go to the About section on my YouTube page, click Intuitive Memberships, and you can sign up for it there. Much appreciated. Okay guys, let's talk about two of my favorites, man. These are the ones I started with, the old Rapala minnow, the old Rogue shallow running minnow right here. You see how much I've used this thing. It's all been chewed up with everything. But these two guys, I started out, my first hard bait that I ever used was a Rapala minnow. I used to use, I can't even remember the name, it was smaller than this one. When I was wading Turkey Creek down by my mom and dad's house. That's how I learned to bass fish, is throwing a floating Rapala minnow down in Turkey Creek. And I used it forever. It was one of my favorite deals back in the 70s and early 80s. It still is a fish catching bait, backed up by the Rogue minnow. And there's two applications I use both with. So anyway guys, these are two of the best springtime jerkbait that you can use for when those fish get really shallow. And this is something that's gotten overlooked. This is a technique that catches lots of fish and it catches big fish. I almost won the FLW tournament they had down at Lake Pascagoula in Mississippi on a Rogue and a Rapala minnow doing this very thing that I'm talking about. And I have ripped them everywhere from Florida back to this part of the country and everywhere in between when the situation gets right for it. So anyway, these two things, guys, these are shallow running jerk baits. You can see the lips on them, how shallow the lips on these things are. These things are only designed to run maybe 3 feet. They're not really designed to fish like a normal jerk bait. They're very buoyant. This is a balsa bait, this is plastic, and they both rise fairly quick. These two baits right here, I consider them surface, subsurface lures. I don't work them like a jerk bait. I work them like a topwater. And what you want to look for is when you get water temperatures that start to get close to 60 degrees, upper 50s, like say 58 to 65 degrees in the spring, when those bass first start moving up into the spawning areas to looking for places to spawn, not necessarily when they're on the beds, but when they're moving shallow. I mean, when the water temperature's in the upper 50s, like when it starts out in the upper 50s early in the morning, you have a lot of fish moving to the bank, and they're going to stay on that bank until after spawning, garden fry, feeding, and that type of stuff. So you have a window of time that these two jerkbaits work. It's about a month every year. What you want to look for is go back into the areas of the lake or the river that you're fishing. Doesn't matter if it's a natural lake. I've ripped them at Lake Okeechobee on it, or if it's a man-made lake. It doesn't really matter. Go into those areas where you think those fish are spawning. Water clarity is another thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's 10-foot visibility, or it doesn't matter if it's a foot of visibility. Get into those areas where the fish are spawning. And what you want to do is you want to cast both of these things out there, let them hit the surface, and then just twitch them underwater. Let them go underwater maybe 3 or 4 inches and let them float up. And then let the ripples disappear on both of these, completely disappear. Twitch it down again underwater, let it float to the top, let the ripples disappear. Guys, this technique is deadly in the springtime of the year. Not many people fish it. It's a slow way to fish. It's got to be very methodical, but it is deadly. But the most important thing with it is the conditions. You have got to have, for this to work, you got to have warmer, stable conditions with a south wind. If you have a north wind, it kills the bite completely. Like a post-front day, this technique works best on days where you have heavy, like some type of heavy overcast, cloudy skies or heavy partly cloudy skies, warm conditions, all the stuff that normally makes fish active. That's when they're going to bite this. And I use both of these hand in hand. And here's one of the most important tips I can give you on these two things. If the water is slick, where you don't have any breeze whatsoever, if it's glass smooth, go with the Rapala minnow. The Rapala minnow will get you more bites. It's completely quiet, it's more buoyant, it's a little bit more subtle. If you have a little bit of chop on the water, just a little ripple, go with the Rogue, because the Rogue has a little bit of a rattle in it. It's a little bit larger bait, attracts the fish from a little bit further if the surface of the water is disturbed. I have them both rigged all the time. But guys, I love this technique. It's basically like topwater fishing. I mean, you can catch them once in a while twitching them under the surface, but most of the time they hit it on the surface. And almost like they would, you know, a Bengal lure or a prop bait or something like that. But here's what's really odd about this is I can't catch fish on this thing any other time than in the springtime of the year when you have conditions like that. I throw this thing a lot. I've tried a lot of different situations, and the fish, the personality of the bass are just not such where they bite at any other time of the year for me, in other words. So anyway, guys, try it this spring, man. Just get you a few of them. You can still buy them. They're still available in all the tackle stores. I'll include the Baitworks link in the description if you want to order some through Baitworks and help the channel out. Put them on, like I said, 8 to 10 pound test spinning rod, 8 to 10 pound test monofilament line, or straight braided line, either one. I prefer the monofilament. And just toss them around those bedding areas this spring. If I could look one condition as far as where I think they work the best at, it's usually if you've got some type of flat bank with water visibility in that 2 to 4 foot range, and especially if you have some type of vegetation. If you've got some type of aquatic vegetation or bank grass or water willows, just some type of vegetation, that's when it is extremely deadly. But it'll work just on straight banks. I've ripped them at Table Rock on it in the right situations. But it's definitely one of my favorite deals for this time of year. So give it a try, guys. If you want to go really old school, get you an old Rapala, get you an old Rogue, put them on a spinning rod, fish them over the next month or so that we have coming up, and just sort of see what happens. So again, thanks guys for tuning in, and please hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and we'll see y'all later.